Well, welcome back, everybody. Really appreciate you joining us today. And if any of you have ever had a chance to meet this next young man, he's one of the more energetic in the industry. Always love talking with Will. Will Allgood with Zurn Industries. He is Director of Sales for Fire Protection. And we're really glad to have him today. Will, welcome, buddy.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate you guys having me on and the opportunity to talk to you, your team, and all of your customers out there throughout the nation.
And it's been a very informative few hours, actually, of other products. But you're on to talk about Zurn today, man, and I'm anxious to hear what you're going to bring to the table. So talk about it with us, man. Let us know what's good in the Zurn world.
We've brought on a few new products as well as enhanced some of our key legacy products to try to add value to not only the contractors but also to the supply chain. And I'm going to go through some of those with you today. What I'd like to do first, I'm just going to pull up my fire protection brochure. We're pretty small with this. We're only 11 pages. We're not crazy with that. So we're going to run through that. I'm going to kind of just highlight the different product categories we have to offer. And then when I'm done with that, I'll come on with some questions. And I'd like to take a deep dive into three key products that I believe will add some real value to you and your contractor partners.
Awesome.
So the catalog starts off with just the double check backflow preventers. These are the DCs. So as calls come into your team, Adam, a lot of times that's how they're asked for by the contractors. Just, I'd like to get a double check. We offer these in all the configurations. You'll see mostly for fire though, for the fire protection side. Zurn obviously works within the waterworks realm pretty heavy. A lot of fire lines are installed by the waterworks, and there's still a ductile preference there. So we have continued our legacy line of ductile products, but for the fire team specifically and for the fire channel, so the stainless backflows, they're available in all our configurations, but these are just the double checks. And really this is just the standard backflow preventer. So guys, once you get through just the standard double checks, we get into the double check with detector assemblies. And most markets where this is seen, the detector assembly really just shows water flow through the backflow. It doesn't give us an exact GPM amount. We kind of call it a tattletale device. It will let us know when water, as fire service lines are typically not metered, how do you know when water has flown through the backflow, or if maybe someone is being slightly dishonest and potentially stealing water? And this detector assembly will allow you to understand that and see that. The specification out there for detectors assemblies is probably about 60 to 70% of the market ask for a detector assembly. And really all it is this brass flow piece that goes right through here. And it just adds another small backflow into this piece to show that we have movement. You do lose about 1 PSI of head pressure going through. So you're not typically just adding that for no reason. But I will say that most specifications we see do include the detector assembly. And you'll notice all the backflows with all the configurations, both flanged ends, grooved ends. All of them are available in both the detector assembly and also non-detector assembly. Now, when you see just the DA series backflows and you see the without the RP, we call these low hazard backflows. And in your world, Adam, you guys are very familiar with high hazard, low hazard. And what that means for you is what you're actually protecting under the ceiling. In the backflow world for us, what that actually means is what's in the water supply. So where you guys might have a high hazard application for sprinkler heads, it still could be a low hazard application for backflows. The definition for that high hazard is literally if there's something in the water supply that will kill you. So not that's stinky, not that smells bad like normal sprinkler water, it will kill you. A couple of examples of that. Number one, first and foremost, a couple years ago now, antifreeze has been reintroduced into our systems, right? So you will see that as absolutely being a high hazard application. So when you guys are offering your foam systems at hangars and whatnot, many times you will see with foam, even though it's not classified as a deadly material, the AHJs are not necessarily buying that, and they will deem it necessary to have an RP. And so that becomes high hazard. So with that being said, just to move into the next section, it's going to look very familiar to this, but the next section flows right into the RPs. And you'll see here it specifically says high hazard protection. And I want to be very clear on the RPs. This is not something that's a, hey, Will, since it fits for the high hazard and the low hazard, why don't we just go ahead and always go with the RP? I want to be very clear. The RP is going to cost you significant pressure loss on your starting pressures. So therefore, typically a fire contractor would never start with an RP unless he had to, based upon based upon the hazard of the water. So you see lots of different configurations, guys, and you're going to see you saw the same ones with my my double checks. And then as you move right through that, you get right into the next section, which is just the RPs, which is your high hazard, but back again with the detector assemblies. And the reason it's used for the high hazard is because it's really a fail safe. If those checks actually do fail and allowing water to backtrack into the municipal water supply, typically there'll be something inside one of the checks. Maybe the system wasn't flushed out properly. It's typically an easy fix, but that valve can dump a tremendous amount of water. Just to keep it in perspective for the team, a 6 or 8 inch valve can dump hundreds of gallons of water per minute through that RP. Wow. So it is a safety device, and I'll tell you, I got a little piece about that at the end, and some of our new products, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we can help you stop that dumping piece. So as I move past the backflows in the catalog, I'm going to highlight the end patterns in a separate piece, but as you guys see that, just pay attention to all the different configurations of end pattern backflows. Moving on from there, this is a great product right here, guys. These are in-building risers. These are very good for labor savings for your contractor. The markets that have them out there, they're abundant and they get used a lot. The markets that haven't had them introduced for whatever reason, these don't have a lot of play. So if you're looking at this going, man, I don't think I've seen this, or I don't think we use this, you may either not know about it or just may not have been introduced into your market. But 2 things this is really good for. 1, backflows as your underground piping is coming in, you have to have thrust protection. And that has to be buried into a concrete thrust block underneath the ground, typically right here at this, what would be a joint in the mechanical joint world. So this piece allows for it to be connected in to your inline pipe, and then it comes up out of the ground with either a flanged or grooved connection, and then it's done. You have no leak spots underground. If any of your contractors have ever had to go in and replace an underground joint, typically it's done with an MJ fitting. If they've ever had to go in and bust up concrete either under the building or under a parking lot, this piece will resonate with them loudly. We also have it available from, normally we go 6 feet over, 6 feet up, but I wanted to point out for some of the larger warehouse contractors out there that do the large warehouse jobs where you have the loading dock coming up, we do offer that in this 8.5 foot version to get up for some of the higher. Typically those are used in warehouses where the loading docks are. I'm going to move into our fire valve lines, and this is a legacy line for Zurn. This is something that we take a lot of pride in, is our fire valves. Pressure reducing world down here, we cut our teeth with both factory set and field adjustable. But now, as you can see right here at the top, we've added our standard hose valves. This is great. We had a lot of, you have a random fire valve, hose valve on your standpipe system right next to a Zurn branded fire valve. So this came with great demand from the contractors so that they could have an all Zurn fire, valve system. So if we have one fire valve sitting right next to a PRV valve, they're all branded Zurn. It's all the same. It's coming from the same place. And this has been a big hit with the contractors able to do that and put that in. So this is just a 175 PSI everyday fire valve, nothing crazy, but we offer it in groove. And I will tell you right now, the salespeople that are out talking about the fact that Zurn sells a grooved connection fire valve is a huge hit in the new construction world, especially when you're doing fabrication for your contractors. When you can sell them a grooved fire valve versus them having to thread it, you're saving them some time and energy on the back end. Service world, you're still going to want to have threaded. So this is something that I think probably having a little bit of both is a good idea. Right next to it, restricting hose valves. This is just a same thing, but it can reduce pressure simply by restricting the flow through this. Not accepted in many areas in the country, Adam. It's something that your team would ask for, or a contractor would ask for. Realistically speaking, it's still only rated to 175 PSI. So most of the time, it gets deemed unnecessary because we're only typically reducing pressure when it's above 175 PSI. So if you run across it, great, we have it, but it's far less than the rest. Next, I'm going to skip field adjustable. We're going to finish with the field adjustables. Factory set valves, just that. These are factory set. Your team members are turning these in. And let me backtrack a little bit. So these valves are always used to that 175 PSI and higher. So in any places where you have buildings that are approximately 7 stories and up, you'll start to find these fire valves. These fire valves are typically 2.5 inch. We do offer them 1.5 inch, but typically you'll see it 2.5. And they come both ways. They come factory set and they come field adjustable. The factory sets require a little bit of front end work from the design team. They send us in their design calcs. We send them out calced the way they asked for them. And conversely, field adjustable is exactly that. It's a field adjustable valve, and it comes out either put up the way they would like it on the settings that they asked for, or the best way to do it, in my opinion, is the design team can fly right past this. They order the field adjustable valves, and seeing that each PRV valve has to be tested and proven before CO on the job site, that has to happen no matter if the design team did the design on the front end or not. Most contractors, some of their busiest guys, and usually the guys that are the leanest, is the design team. So where I've seen great success with this is the design team able to take out large building calculations for their PRV valves and just order the ZW5000. As you know, you guys have invested some inventory in this in Florida, and it's doing very well there. We've saved design teams there numerous hours of designing their PRV valves for a sprinkler system, and instead you guys now have them on the shelf. Our one valve can do all of my old valves, and it can take care of my competitive set valves as far as meeting the flow demands that they would need, up to 30% better in some situations. Okay, so it's really a one-stop valve that takes every valve and puts it into that one, and you can really walk around with one valve on your truck and take care of servicing anything you need.
Fantastic option.
Yeah, man, we look at this as a partnership that we want to help grow and help grow your business. I believe in a secondary sales force from us. Making products and handing them to your team is one thing, but making them, handing them to them, showing them how to use them, and then even following that up with field calls from my team. We really look to this as a partnership, not just a one-sided street. And thank you for that.
Absolutely. Now I know we're running a little bit short on time here today. So is there that one thing you wanted to make sure you wanted to leave me without?
Yeah, this is what I wanted to show you guys in the backflow world. 2 things: ST Backflow, the stainless steel backflow. I wanted to tell your team this is an incredible piece. It's a space-saving device. So right now, regardless if you're inside or outside, the in-pattern backflow is going to save you space. Inside, we know how much money it costs per square foot of mechanical room. That bad boy is a beast. Outside, when you're talking about your areas where you're moderate to climates, but we're still a little cold and these things are going in vaults, guys, when you show them an in-pattern backflow and they put that into the vault, you just save them a drastic amount of money per cubic foot of that vault. Anytime you can lower the cubic foot size of the vault, you save money for the contractor, and that valve will do it for you. And then finally, even in places such as Miami, we're having a lot of success with this. Even though it's all outside, we all know that the space, you got a 50-story building on a food stamp, right? And that bad boy is sitting there, and where do you put the backflow? And this allows them to gain a few extra feet. And whether you believe it or not, those few extra feet are critical in certain areas of the country. And that's it, guys. I've done my piece. I wanted to hit you with that, but really, finally, just allow us to come in and help you guys. We'd love to come in, set up training specifically with it. We've been able to do a few of your key markets. Florida, Texas has already taken some big trainings on with us, but we encourage all of your sales team to get it set up. We run a great virtual training, and then when we can get back on the road, we want to be in your offices going through with your inside, outside staff. Maybe we'll sponsor a counter day, whatever we can do to be a part of the team and help add value.
Man, I really appreciate it. I knew you'd bring some excitement in today, and look forward to seeing you again soon when we get out on the road. So thanks again, Will, for being here with us today. And we'll catch up with you guys in just a little bit with more of our virtual trade show. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.